In the ancient realm of the Sunstone Kingdom, where legends and lore intertwine beneath a sky perpetually painted with hues of fire and ice, a darkness began to seep into every crevice of life. A catastrophic magical frost, wrought by powers lost to time, descended upon the land like an unyielding shroud. This numbing chill haunted the fertile fields and warmed hearths alike, casting doubt among the people who once trusted in the comforting embrace of the sun. The once radiant kingdom now lay in an unexpected siege by winter, a realm where the natural order was overturned by a mysterious, relentless force. It was in these troubled times that Anya, a young and resolute fire mage endowed with an extraordinary gift, her ability to kindle warmth from nothing but a mere spark, found herself chosen by fate. The fire within her burned not only from the flames that danced at her fingertips but also from an inner ember, a symbol of hope, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of her people. With each beating of her heart, the promise of a single spark kindled the possibility of salvation. This ember, a rare and radiant light amidst the omnipresent frost, had been seen by many as both a beacon and a burden. In the minds of the kingdom's elders, it was a symbol of the past glories of Sunstone and a reminder that hope could ignite even in the darkest winter. From her humble beginnings within the bustling yet now somber village nestled at the kingdom's heart, Anya stood as a figure emblematic of newfound defiance. Her presence was both a comfort and a challenge to those who had resigned themselves to the chilling woe that had befallen their once vibrant lands. Determined to reverse the eternally cold fate cast upon her homeland, she embarked on a journey far beyond the familiar boundaries of warmth and light. Anya's quest led her to the rugged, frozen terrain of the northern peaks, a land known not only for its treacherous icy slopes and shimmering glaciers but also for its mystique and ancient secrets concealed behind walls of ice. In a world where magic was both revered and feared, Anya's power made her an anomaly. Her innate ability to breathe life into the cold with her fiery presence was a delicate balance of creation and destruction, a force that could, if mastered, melt the hardest barriers of despair and enfeeble the chill that gripped the souls of the people. Every step she took toward the northern peaks was weighted with the gravity of duty, every footfall resonating across frozen rivers and desolate fields. This journey, marked by peril, not only beckoned her physically into an unforgiving expanse but also aimed to test the very essence of her character and the depths of her courage. As the landscape shifted from the familiar warmth of the kingdom to the harsh, icy barrenness of the north, the contrast between light and shadow grew ever more pronounced. The journey was fraught with nature's challenges: howling winds that carried whispers of ancient sorrows, towering ice formations that cut like glass upon the skin, and valleys where the remnants of once bustling life now lay alive only in the rustle of the winter wind. The frost that enveloped the land was not merely a natural occurrence but a manifestation of a curse had placed its mark upon everything it touched. It was as if nature itself had been subdued by an unseen hand, and that hand was believed to be controlled by none other than the legendary Frost Queen. This enigmatic sovereign, shrouded in mystery and sorrow, ruled over the northern lands with an icy heart and an air of forlorn majesty. The Frost Queen was spoken of in hushed tones among the people, a figure both feared and pitied. Her dominion over frost and cold was absolute, and many believed her magic was the source of the kingdom's current affliction. Legends had woven a tale of a ruler who had once been kind and benevolent, only to have her heart hardened by sorrow and loss. In the frozen silence of her glacial palace, the Frost Queen sat upon a throne of ice, a solitary figure whose very existence seemed a lament for beauty lost in a world betrayed by its own ambitions. It was said that in every shard of ice that hung like a mirror in the cold air, one could see reflections of moments of joy turned to sorrow, of life frozen in time. The path to thawing the eternal winter was not one of simple confrontation. Rather, it was a quest that demanded understanding, mercy, and the willingness to see beyond the apparent cruelty of nature. The ember within Anya was not merely a source of burning flame. It was a symbol of transformation that could, if nurtured and guided properly, light a spark of redemption even in the frost-bitten hearts of those who appeared irredeemable. As Anya journeyed through perilous passes and over ice-bound ridges, her thoughts often wandered to the possibility of transforming the relentless cold into something warm and life-giving. A transformation that might not only bring back the lush vibrancy of Sunstone but also offer redemption to the misunderstood Frost Queen, who had become a prisoner of her own sorrow. The days on the road were long and filled with tribulations. The biting cold gnawed at Anya's resolve, and the wind seemed to echo the despair of a land that had lost its way. Yet, with each trial, her spirit grew stronger, refined by the very elements that threatened to extinguish it. Despite the weight of uncertainty, the small but persistent ember within her kindled a fierce determination, propelling her forward with each decisive step. It was a journey that demanded resilience of both body and soul, as the merciless environment sought to sap every ounce of heat from her being. Still, she pressed on, driven by a steadfast belief that warmth, even the faintest spark, could ultimately rekindle life even in the bleakest of winters. The winding paths and treacherous ice fields eventually carried her to the outskirts of the feared glacial domain. The atmosphere grew thick with anticipation. The very air vibrated with the magic of untold ages. The realm of the Frost Queen was set apart from the world by an imperceptible barrier of sorrow and ice, a domain where the harmony between light and warmth had been disrupted by ceaseless cold. Amid the scattered remnants of ancient statues, now half encased in crystalline ice, and the silent testimony of civilizations long since succumbed to the winter, Anya could sense the weight of centuries bearing down upon her. It was here in this haunting expanse that the symbolic confrontation of fire versus ice reached its poignant climax. Within a majestic hall of frozen splendor, carved out of a mountain of eternal winter, the figure of the Frost Queen emerged from the swirling fog of frost and crystal. Her presence was as commanding as it was tragic, a figure of poised grace caught between the torment of her past and the rigidity of her present. The glacial palace, with its corridors of hanging icicles and shimmering walls, was both a mausoleum and a monument, a testament to a time when magic flowed freely before being channeled into a perpetual state of melancholy isolation. Every facet of her dominion whispered secrets of sorrow, each spark of ice forged from memories of love unfulfilled and dreams turned to despair. Anya, with the ember burning softly within her, advanced with the patience of one who had traversed not only physical distances but also the labyrinth of inner transformation. She saw in the Frost Queen not a tyrant to be vanquished but a soul cloaked in ice, a soul whose beauty had been obscured by unyielding sorrow and loss. The two figures stood as embodiments of opposing yet strangely interdependent forces, one a keeper of warmth and renewal, the other a guardian of a legacy frozen by pain. The collision of fire and ice in this silent yet profound confrontation was not merely a clash of elemental might, but a meeting of histories, a whisper of empathy that transcended the boundaries of mortal and myth. In that poignant moment, the magnificent expanse of the frozen hall bore witness to the subtle interplay of power and vulnerability. The very air pulsed with an unspoken acknowledgement of the potential for transformative change, a reminder that even in despair, the smallest spark of understanding can bridge the greatest divides. As Anya's steady flame danced with the cool, unwavering radiance of the Frost Queen's domain, the ancient curse began to show its first signs of hesitation. The fragile equilibrium between frost and fire had been disturbed, promising a potential for reconciling two disparate forces that had long been viewed as adversaries. The journey of Anya was emblematic of the eternal struggle that lays at the core of existence, the relentless battle between light and darkness, warmth and cold, hope and despair. Her heart, a repository of gentle determination and fierce resolve, carried the conviction that redemption was possible even for those seemingly lost to the icebound grip of sorrow. In the recesses of her mind, images of the Sunstone Kingdom, a land thriving with radiant life and vibrant culture, fueled her efforts. She saw a future where the brilliant glow of life would no longer be threatened by the encroaching chill, a future where the people would once again gather under warm skies, their faces lit with unburdened smiles. As hours melted into days, and the relentless march of time witnessed the slow unraveling of spells long cast, the interplay of fire and frost grew into a ballet of ephemeral beauty. The subtle shifts in the glacial palace, once icy and unyielding, began to soften under the gentle warmth of the ember. Each tender radiance of light cast delicate reflections upon the frozen corridors, hinting at the possibility of renewal amid despair. The Frost Queen, whose eyes held a timeless melancholy, found herself confronted by an unfamiliar sensation, an echo of warmth that rekindled memories of a gentler past. Her demeanor, once carved in stone and ice, softened imperceptibly as the narrative of the kingdom's legacy began to intertwine with the promise heralded by Anya's journey. The unfolding saga was a testament to the belief that strength is not solely found in the ability to dominate or conquer, but in the capacity to transform the very nature of one's existence. The ancient curse that had gripped the Sunstone Kingdom was not an enemy to be vanquished by brute force. It was an affliction born of pain and misunderstanding, a wound that needed healing through compassion and the gradual mending of fractured memories. In the silent communion between the two legendary forces, the Ember of Hope mingled with the frost of sorrow, crafting a delicate narrative where the old could give way to the promise of new beginnings. As the tale neared its turning point, the sun, which had long hidden behind a veil of relentless winter clouds, began to show tentative rays of brightness on the horizon. The kingdom itself, with its fields shimmering as they caught the glint of newly born light, offered a quiet yet steadfast reminder that the darkest winters are often succeeded by springs of unimaginable beauty. The interplay between light and shadow reached a crescendo that spoke to the soul, a timeless dance that had been performed since the dawn of creation. In this sacred interplay, Anya's unwavering ember and the Frost Queen's still potent, albeit sorrow-laden magic, found a tentative convergence, a union born out of necessity, compassion, and the undeniable allure of healing. In the reflective calm of that newfound light, the specter of eternal winter that had once paralyzed the kingdom began to thaw, if only in spirit. The once severe chill that had gripped not only the land but also the hearts of the inhabitants slowly gave way to the promise of eventual warmth and renewal. The journey of the Fire Mage had transformed into a pilgrimage of understanding, a sincere endeavor to mend a broken legacy through the acceptance of both the pain of the past and the hope for a better future. She symbolized the eternal possibility that one spark could reverberate into an epidemic of healing, touching even those who seemed most far removed from a sense of mercy and compassion. In the echo of this silent reconciliation, the frozen corridors of the glacial palace bore witness not to a cataclysmic battle, but to a profound transformation, a metamorphosis in which the daunting power of the frost was gradually reinvigorated by the relentless warmth of a single, luminous heart. The Frost Queen, whose reign had been marked by cold indifference, began to see the dormant potential for renewal in her own soul. The walls of ice that separated her from both her people and the world beyond began to fissure, allowing gentle streams of melting frost to trickle quietly over the ancient stone, a metaphor for the healing pathways that were slowly emerging in a realm once condemned to despair. As the narrative wove itself into a tapestry of hope and transformation, the landscapes of the Sunstone Kingdom, too, started to echo the promise of rejuvenation. The biting frost receded in places, revealing the tender green shoots that had lain dormant beneath layers of winter's oppression. Throughout the land, sparks of life began to kindle anew, not through magical intervention alone, but through the collective yearning of a people who refused to surrender to despair. The kingdom, scarred yet resilient, bore the marks of a journey that transcended mere survival. It was a living testament to the power of belief, change, and the eternal search for light even in the bleakest of times. The epic voyage of Anya, marked by her encounters with both nature's fury and the hidden depths of inner warmth, spanned not just geographical distances but also engaged the profound realms of emotion, memory, and redemption. In every fraught step toward the heart of the frozen peaks, she encountered vestiges of forgotten legends, ancient runes etched into ice, spectral traces of past lives frozen in time, and fleeting images of a world that once basked in the harmonious embrace of light and warmth. Each of these remnants served as silent witnesses to the confluence between the forces of fire and frost, urging her onward in her quest to restore the delicate balance that had been so long disrupted. In the quiet aftermath of this transformative convergence, when the harsh boundaries between fire and ice had finally begun to blur, the story of the Sunstone Kingdom acquired a new chapter. The magical frost that had once seemed invincible was rendered powerless by the strength of empathy and understanding, a reminder that even the fiercest of elements might yield when faced with the resolute spark of a courageous heart. The legacy of the Frost Queen, too, was redefined. No longer was she seen as a mere embodiment of cruelty and despair, but as a tragic figure whose icy exterior had concealed the warm memories of a bygone era, and the potential for repentance and redemption. Thus, the saga of the Ember and the Frost Queen emerged as a timeless parable, a narrative that resonated far beyond the borders of the Sunstone Kingdom. It was a story of a young fire mage whose steady flame defied the encroaching cold, of a desolate land nurtured back to life by the smallest, most persistent spark, and of a sovereign whose own destiny was inextricably linked with both sorrow and the promise of transformation. The rekindling of light amid relentless winter served as a beacon to all who witnessed this unfolding drama, a constant reminder that in every heart lies the power to mend the fractured, to heal the wounded, and to ignite the flickering embers of hope against even the most overwhelming gloom. In the wake of these transformative events, as the frost retreated and the gentle glow of a recovering sun cast golden ripples across newly awakened fields, the people of the kingdom came to see the truth of their journey. What had begun as a desperate struggle against a relentless curse had blossomed into a profound lesson about the nature of power and redemption, a timeless dance between opposing forces, where neither was inherently evil, but each held within it the potential for rebirth and healing. And so, under skies once again alive with the brilliant interplay of light and shadow, the fate of the Sunstone Kingdom was irrevocably altered by the indomitable spirit of one humble mage and the quiet understanding that even the coldest of hearts can be warmed by the smallest spark of mercy. This enduring narrative, woven from threads of magic, emotion, and the ever-persistent will to overcome, continues to inspire those who dare to imagine that hope can triumph over despair. The journey into the northern peaks, fraught with perils and lined with icy remnants of a forgotten past, set the stage for a new era where both flame and frost danced in delicate harmony. In the annals of history, the tale of Anya and the Frost Queen stands as a luminous testament to the transformative power of compassion, a reminder that every winter must eventually yield to a long-awaited spring, and that the enduring ember of hope can defy even the most formidable winter's grasp. In the final unfolding of this timeless epic, as the Sunstone Kingdom awakened to the soft luminescence of a reawakened dawn, the legacy of the Fire Mage and the sorrowful Sovereign was etched into every heart and stone. The convergence of their fates had rewritten the ancient tale of winter and renewal, gifting the land with not just relief from a ceaseless frost, but with the enduring promise of new beginnings. Through this journey, the narrative revealed that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning, and that even in the realm of ice and desolation, the smallest spark can herald the dawn of a brighter, more compassionate era. In the final unfolding of this timeless epic, as the Sunstone Kingdom awakened to the soft luminescence of a reawakened dawn, the legacy of the Fire Mage and the sorrowful Sovereign was etched into every heart and stone. The convergence of their fates had rewritten the ancient tale of winter and renewal, gifting the land with not just relief from a ceaseless frost, but with the enduring promise of new beginnings. Through this journey, the narrative revealed that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning, and that even in the realm of ice and desolation, the smallest spark can herald the dawn of a brighter, more compassionate era.